Well, that's perfect with a little bit of sun at my back. Turning it around, we're going to be talking about the Solar Kiln today. There she is, what I call the Solar Kiln Plus, and one of the questions I get asked a lot is, can you sterilize wood in a solar kiln? Well, I'm going to answer that question in this video, and I'm going to show you the updates from what we've gotten done from the last video. So make sure you hang out to the end when I tell you how we sterilize, if we sterilize wood in the solar kiln. But let's take a look at some of the updates that I've done so far. Now we're still cooking away inside. I am going to grab my trusty iPhone, which has an app for the sensor push, and inside I'm gonna hit this button. Great little app. Right now it's still 132 degrees inside, so I'm gonna go and turn the fan off so maybe it's not buzzing in the background, and that's okay because I got a little bit of work to do inside the kiln. First thing I'm gonna show you on the updates is I've started on the electrical doghouse, and so we got the electrical changed in from the other side. So it was on the other side. You do want to, I'll probably mention this a couple times. I have one video about building the solar kiln. I have another video about operating the solar kiln, and just as I work my way through this process and learn more, I'll keep sharing these videos with you. So I moved the electrical to this side mainly because it ended up right here in the sawmill shed. This is the sawmill shed where the sawmill is, and there's my power, and the power comes through here. And it just turned out that my box for the power was right here, so I can put this in different places. It's mobile, it's on a flat base skid, but I moved it over to this side so it was nice and easy to plug in. I have a indoor panel, so it really needs to be covered, and when I moved it over here, we just put a nice piece of poly over it to keep it dry. But I've started in now on getting a doghouse. I will put a nice door on here. I'm going to use plexiglass so I can just look in and see what's going on here. Always keep some colored electrical tape around, and I mainly use that for marking. So I've got this whole thing runs on a couple of ink birds on the outside. That will turn the fans on, and it'll turn the oil heaters on. I don't have oil heaters on right now because we're going by solar, but I call this the Solar Kiln Plus, so I have the plus side is being able to use heat on the inside. So those go in. This is set. I got a couple outlets that are switched, a couple that are hot, and then they go into here, and here's the switched ones, and those just get controlled by this. There's my probes that go in through there, and a nice little rubber, well, you know what you want to call that, a little stopper that goes in there and just holds the wires in place. So this is, I'm liking how this is turning out and working, and nice roof goop so I don't get water coming down in here, but that's looking good, so we'll go there. I am going to unplug the fan so I get rid of the hum right now. And then this brings us to the back. So this will probably be the first video that you've actually seen the doors on here, because prior to that, yes, I'm taking care of things properly. Prior to that, I was just using some foil insulation boards to hold the back. And that's the best thing about this. Everything in its time, everything when you have time. But the doors got built, and before I didn't have the 4 vents on the bottom. I had them cut into the foam boards, and then I covered them up. This is my 5th, 6th load going through the Solar Kiln Plus. And what I want to do, because I'm ready to, let's open these bad boys up. I am ready to sterilize. And to sterilize, because you know how these things work a little bit, I don't know if that's going to help hold it open right now. I'm going to lose all the heat, but I'm okay with that. On here, I've got this nice load of 6/4 black walnut. I checked it earlier with the Orion 910, which reads 3/4 of an inch. we'll just turn it on and just show you where we're at. 55 is the species material, and we get in there, and, you know, it depends where you're reading. We're in the 7 down here. Oh, that's not going to even be the black walnut. Something that you always got to do, try to get that in there. Got 8. I'll just jump up on top here and get into that wood. There we go. So reading a 6/8. So they're all between 6 and 8 where I want to. And as I put my hand on this is another update, another good update. This is actually a great update. So before my first couple of loads, I was just hooking up a piece of canvas and dropping down as a baffle, and what I ended up doing is using some plywood, chipboard, and plywood. And so I got them painted black with an oil-based paint, and that's just sitting on top. But then I have these baffles that are on hinges that when I go to load and unload the kiln, I'll be able to just push them up out of the way and allow for that. But for now, it creates the nice baffle. Here's the 3 fans that are up here. And I'll try to reach the camera around, and maybe that'll show that in there. If not, sorry, there, I think I got an angle on a fan. Anyways, this works really nice because I'm gonna put a hook over there, like right there, so I can hold them up while I'm changing things up, but loading and unloading back in there. Here is a great little shot of the power, so I can tell which ones are the hot and which ones are the switched, and then the fans are direct wired into that one. What I'm doing today, because when you're just operating as a solar kiln, you have the vents on the bottom and the vents on the top, and you're pushing the air and you're pulling air, cycling air and dumping air. But to be able to, apologize if the footage is not great, but what we need to be able to do is close up these guys. And so I made these little doors like that allow us to close. Do another one here. Because the key with getting it to sterilize, so what we need to do when we sterilize wood, you know that, internal temperature needs to be 145. 42, 45, 42. I'm going to go 45. Anyways, we need to get that internal temperature up to 145. So by closing this thing up, I will be able to keep it a lot hotter. The other thing, when I do the Solar Kiln Plus in the winter, then I'll be able to put a little insulation inside those openings on the kiln across there, and then we'll be able to keep it a lot hotter. Here's where the probes come in, right here, and they're hanging, and this is why marking the wire. The blue is cool, the red is hot, so when I get to that, I'll know which ones are heating and running the fans. So that's there. There's the vents on the outside. Now they're closed up. Here is the little sensor push. This is the reading, so halfway through that's giving my readings. And one more little tip or thing that I did, as the wood dries, the straps get a little bit soft. I tried these springs. These are snowplow springs. They're only 30 bucks a piece, and when I put it in here, I was able to crank, and I might crank one down now, and you can see how they stretch out. I don't need to do that much more, but when I originally put this load in here, I had these things gapped out and stretched out really quite nice, and these were tight. So you can see how much we dried this wood out in there. I think in the future I probably will start putting one of these springs on every single strap in here, and that'll eliminate the need to set concrete or anything on there, just so I get that down pressure. Okay, what I'm going to do right now is, I made these in the shop. I'll show you that real quick. And with those made in the shop, I'm gonna install those doors right here right now. We've got the 4, so I can close that up, and let's get that done. All right, we got them installed, and another thing that happens, I get asked all the time, hey, do you have plans for that? I'm like, no, I don't. At some point I will. So this is based, and if you go back to the construction video, this is based off the Virginia Tech Solar Kiln. It is smaller than that because I watched the construction video and it explains why it's this size and everything. But what you end up doing when you make your solar kiln is you will start out with the most perfect plan in your mind, how you're going to do it and everything, and then as you start going, you make little tweaks and changes. So this was all set to drop down, and I'm going to fix this when I pull this load out. But the way that this kiln is set up, let me pull this side, close these doors so you can see. On this side, what I ended up doing is putting the hinge to the top. I should have thought about that. That's just the way these things go. The ones with the hinge to the bottom, they will fold down. I'll just show you. And when they fold down like that, they get lower. And the way that I have this set up here, this little bit of a ledge, it kind of gets a little bit of a seal right there. And would you look at that? It's not going to close. So when I pull this load and put the next load in, we'll turn these around. I just don't want to do that right now. Anyway, so we got that side done. This side will close. Let me pull this board out here. This side will close, and you'll see how you get that seal, and then they're closed up. And so now, you know, it's not 100% airtight, but for what we're doing, this is pretty doggone tight. Pull this door out a little bit because I've got them fit just right, like that, and they push in nice and tight. And for now, my 2 little kickboards go in there. Figured out why I call them kickboards now, didn't you? That just holds. And for sterilizing, my 8 vents now are closed off. And like I said, when I get to the winter or cooler temps and I just start heating it in there, I'll be able to put some insulation in there and really get it. That is not going to do it for this video. That's going to do it for this segment. It is Monday. We're scheduled higher than average temps in Minnesota here. We're going to be mid 80s with low humidity for the next 4 days. So I'm hoping that I get enough temperature. I'll check in and just show you where it's at using that little sensor push to give you an idea. Hopefully by the end of the week we're opening this up and we'll find out together. Did we sterilize this walnut? But for now, there she be, beautiful sun. Time to go home, have some din-din and a little beer. Yep, hey, welcome back. This unseasonably warm weather for September here in Minnesota, or maybe it's not, maybe that's just September in Minnesota. We're sitting at almost 80 degrees today. We had a good week, and the burning question that everyone has, the answer that everyone has, or maybe I have the answer, something like that, is did we sterilize the load of wood, the package that's in here, enough? I'm going to open it up and we'll take a look at things. So the answer is yes. I wasn't for sure that it was going to happen because we had one day that it got cloudy. And if you're wondering, it might be obvious when they say solar kiln. It really is. If the sun is not shining, it's not heating up. And first day out Monday, no, we put it in Monday. Tuesday was a beautiful warm day. We got up to some nice temperatures. Tuesday, we had a partially cloudy day with these beautiful little white fluffy clouds going by, but as soon as a cloud would go into in the path of the sun, the temperature would start dropping. Wednesday, we had a smoking day. Thursday, I wanted it to get just a little bit hotter, and I was planning on taking it out on Friday. I ran out of time, which was a good thing because yesterday, because today's Saturday, doesn't really matter when you're watching this, but Friday, that's when I was planning on taking it out. I didn't. We had a nice 80 degree day, solid bluebird, and we smoked it. So 162 degrees at the high temperature inside here. So that's a wow. Let's take a look. How do I know it was 162? So there's all kinds of different things. The one, I'll start here. I have those ink birds on the outside. They come in here. There's the two here. This guy was reading over 163, a little bit higher. But the one that I do the most monitoring with and would make a recommendation if you're thinking about doing a solar kiln is this little guy right here called sensor push. And it's fantastic. So that will track humidity, relative humidity on the inside, and temperature. It hooks up to your phone there, Bluetooth, and so you can go by. You can also get a gateway, which I do have in the workshop, but it's too far away to pick up the signal, so I just come out here, walk by, and in seconds I have the data right here. Maybe I'll do a whole video on this. Let me know if that's something you're interested on. But I'm gonna hit here, so I'll try to set the camera down so you can see the phone app right there. But this is the one, this one I have right there. I actually have them backwards. This is the workshop. Doesn't matter how I have it named. But this is already, it was at 130 and it's already dropped a few. But here's where you just start to see the screen. So this is the last hour. This is when I opened up the kiln. It was at 135. It's down to 121 already. I hit the day and I'm going there. So yesterday, that max, that Friday that I was talking about at 4 p.m., 161.7. Thing to remember is I do have that sensor in the middle of the kiln. So lower might be not quite as high. Up on top, it's going to be higher. I go to the week, and this is where I can watch the week. And this little tick right there, beep, sorry about that. That's Monday night where I put it into the kiln. So if I just stretch that out, see how cool this app is? I'm gonna go right there, and that's where we started it. So we maxed out in the 161.6, so almost there. Averaged 121, but what I'm gonna do is zoom in again and go into that last 2 days, and you can see how my average is going up. And if I look at what yesterday was, and I'm doing the average, so when the average gets above 140, sliding right there, sorry if it's hard, but 139, 140 right there. So I had almost 6-8 hours of above 140 degrees. So this is a really cool app, a little cool thing. I know there's other things out there. Whatever you use, leave me a comment down below. Would love to just see others, what they're doing. But this works great for me because I can monitor it when I get it hooked up to the gateway. Then I don't even have to be standing here because the gateway, then I can monitor it wherever I am. The springs held up nice, but you can see everything loosened up. So this is awesome wood here. These are all 6/4 inch pieces of black walnut that are going to make some incredible charcuterie boards, maybe little nightstand pieces. They're all going to go into the wood bay area, and they're going to be for sale, but I'll probably start making stuff out of them myself, so that'll be for sale. Anyways, awesome. Thanks for hanging out here. Oh, as long as you're here this long, I've got another package ready up front. I stacked it up. It's another one of the slab skids. This is on a slab skid. I'm gonna pull this one out and we're gonna load the next package. So hang out a couple more minutes and you'll see how easy this Solar Kiln Plus is to swap out loads all by your lonesome self. All right, this package is ready to go. I grabbed the springs from the other one and you can see how tight they are and spread apart. This one I got a little bit better. My clearance is 67.5 inches and I'm at 66 inches and I don't have a spotter, so wish me luck. well, this is how you learn things, and this is how manuals are written, and this is how you troubleshoot things. So I wasn't going to pull this whole package out of the kiln, but I forgot to open up those vents because we're going to start drying this next package. I forgot to open up those vents, which means I had to reach up there and do the little latch and then fold them down. If they would have been the other way, there's no way I would have had to pull it. But those vents fold down just like these ones when I first did it, which is why I had to turn this around for clearance. But these fold up, those fold down, they're open. I had 6 inches of clearance here. Let's talk about this package for a quick hot minute. There's about 520 board feet here, 26 layers. Most of it's 4/4. There's a couple layers of 6/4. It is ash and black walnut. I did a quick read on that. Read moisture content. It is all sitting between 11 and 12%. This has been in the log yard milled for at least 18 months, so it is as dry as it's going to get sitting outside, like that right over there. That's where I do my kind of air drying, where it stacks up, and at some point that will have a roof over it and sun blocking, but everything in its time. We've talked about that. So 520 feet, 67 inches. This is 66, so I had an inch clearance up there. It's pushing up against the baffle system that I have in there. Future, I will just say we can't go over 60 inches, and maybe even 58 is where I need to be. This slab skid is 10 feet wide and it's only 30 inches deep. So if I were to do a 36 in here and go up there, I could fit a little bit more. This whole kiln was designed to be between 400 and 600 board feet. and using the Virginia Tech model, 1 square foot of open on the other side per square or per board foot. Just like that, it's escaping me. Anyways, I think I have at least 1,000 board feet of collector on that side, and I'm only doing 400 to 600, so this gets more than enough sun on there. All right, gonna start wrapping this one up. There's my sensor push that I'm putting kind of in the middle. Actually, I'm gonna go down one more right there. So as I'm monitoring, you know, it's getting that top. The bottom might be getting a little bit. I'm gonna have to figure out a little bit more baffling on the side at some point, since my blackboards on top didn't fit in there. I just threw that. The more that you baffle and block, the better pressure that we're going to get in here, but it's not that big, so it's drying, it's working. I'm not going to worry about that. We already talked about the springs on there and the tension. The doors are open, so let's close this thing up. Well, it's a good thing that that sticker was like keeping that door out a little bit. Otherwise, I would have been looking for my camera for a long time going, where did I leave it? Inside the kiln, but we got it. It's there. That's what takes all the pretty pictures. All right, this is it. I'm gonna plug it in. I don't think it says it's 80 degrees, and I have it set for 82, so the last little bit of daylight. And it says 82, just like that. It actually might kick on. We might get just a few peaks of sun and get this one drying. But there you go. I super appreciate the fact that you're still here watching this video. If you are still at this point watching that video, it means you actually have an interest in solar kilns and drying wood, which means you know something about it. So leaving me a comment, yes, you can be harsh and critical. I can take it. Just be nice. But leave me some information on how you're doing it, what you're doing, and I will keep sharing some videos as we keep working this one. It is the end of September. In Minnesota, so we have very few warm days going. So by the end of October, we'll be well into the 50s and 60s as high, and at some point I will switch this over to the plus side, but I'm going to do a whole video on how I run it as the plus. But that's it. Happy wood drying to you, or whatever, something like that. Glenn here, workshop at the gardens. Cheers.